called it a cheap mishmash of Blade Runner, Robocop, and Total Recall.
Wait.
Nobody's going to understand.
At all. Welcome back. We are here on episode 108. 108.
Oh,
108, yeah.
108.
Here on Into the Night podcast. I am DJ Villain.
And I am MC PBK, Phone Book Killer.
Today we're going to be discussing FreeJack.
He's a FreeJack. That's what it was.
1992 joint starring Emilio Estevez. Emilio! I told you he was going to chime in at some point. So anyway.
It's just doing that on its own.
I guess.
Yeah.
The ghost of the machine has taken over. The necropolis is winning, as usual.
That's another deep cut, Ghost in the Machine.
Yeah, that is.
93.
It's a great one. So anyway, FreeJack starring Emilio Estevez, Mick Jagger, Rene Russo, and Anthony Hopkins. 1992 joint. I don't remember the director.
Jeff Murphy.
That's right. Yeah, you got it there.
I got it there.
Let's talk FreeJack. PBK.
Well, let's talk how it came on your radar. I saw it as a kid. You didn't know anything about it.
I know nothing about this movie.
I saw it, and here we go. Time machine. Blockbuster, Hoboken, New Jersey.
Shout out to Blockbuster.
Yeah. Shout out to video stores in general.
My Blockbuster stock is down.
92. And right at that time, just like with albums, there's no internet. So, this shit the poster looks dope.
You either see it on a poster, in a magazine, or on television.
Or a comic book, and that's it. So I was like, oh, I totally knew as a kid, this is a dystopic film along the lines of the cheap ripoff of Total Recall.
Yeah.
Robocop and Blade Runner. And I said, oh, Papi, let's get it. And of course, for my father to get it, the thing to entice him to get it was, oh, look, Mick Jagger's in it, because I knew the Rolling Stones. And he's like, okay, yeah, let's get it,
Fucking hell, dude.
So
yeah, this movie is it's.
And I hadn't seen it since 92 or 93, rather.
It's definitely out there. So anyway, Emilio Estevez plays Alex Furlong, a race car driver, who is tragically.
It is based on a science fiction novel from 1959.
Oh, wow.
Called Immortality, Inc. by Robert Sheckley.
We knew it was some sort of ink.
And we knew we referenced the Do Robots Dream or Count Electric Sheep?
Was that Isaac Asimov, I believe? Or maybe I'm just pulling that out of
Asimov is the other
context. Guy. It doesn't matter. That's a better concept for a better movie.
Philip K. Suck My Dick.
Philip K. Yeah.
That's what it is.
That's it.
Yeah, Philip K. Dick. You're right.
So
Wizio.
Emilio plays Alex Furlong, race car driver, who is tragically in like the most bodoed out crash of all time. Just like ramps up into an overpass and blows up in his fucking Formula One car.
He gets bumped. Tires gets bumped in the back. I don't know how that causes you to go 60 feet in the air right into a bridge. Released January 17th, 1992. So
but
we're almost at
But what's really
30 years
behind the scenes you said the year 2009?
Yes.
So in the year 2009, a mere 17 years in the future, we have the ability to literally pull people from the past, pluck them from the past into the future.
Yeah.
And Emilio,
by the second, mind you, this is not primitive.
Yes.
Terminator mythos.
Yeah.
Or you got to go naked or anything.
Yeah.
We can literally.
There's not a car involved. This isn't Back to the Future.
What's funny is like they
sink in on you and they're like beep 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 beep.
They sink on your life. So where the fuck are the cameras to exist to know what's actually happening in that metaverse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's they basically zero in on you and steal you from the past. And I guess I'm assuming they do this to other people. I don't know.
Well, because in the it says here in the book, in 2009, the super wealthy achieve immortality by hiring bonejackers, mercenaries equipped with time travel devices to snatch people from the past just prior to the moment of their deaths, for use as substitute bodies. Those who escape are known as FreeJacks and are considered less than human under the law.
There you go.
In this dystopian future, most people suffer from poor physical health. We see that later on with David Johansen.
Right.
As a result of rampant drug use and environmental pollution, making them unattractive as replacement bodies.
Replacement bodies.
That's right.
But yeah, basically these people can be pulled from the past for whatever reason the people in the future want them to have, because they don't exist on paper. And we go through what is an attempt at a movie, I would say, for the next about 50 minutes after that.
I found it very curious that once he's plucked from his Formula One race crash, which is in Long Island, I believe, he's plucked into 2009, the illest medical protective PPE. Looks like giant silver potatoes in the oven. Like Reynolds wraps.
We have the brightest and best of 2009 scientists wearing
like the Jiffy Pop.
Yeah,
thing
they're wearing like
foil
aluminum foil hazmat suits.
It's like what Prince wore.
It looks like the director was
they
like
they lost money.
They lost
like
money,
running out of money,
and they were like, "We're gonna
fuck."
I
this
rented
shit.
out the banquet hall at the Ramada Inn off the freeway.
Yeah,
we're gonna go there. We're gonna shoot a couple of these scenes, and we're just gonna get it done.
Yeah.
Because that's what it looks like. It looks terrible. Like Emilio goes from, and they're side by siding it. Like they're showing the race, and
with
then
the future
happening simultaneously. Yeah. And Mick Jagger is basically just mean mugs the computer guy into basically stealing Emilio into the future.
Right.
It looks terrible. It looks god awful.
Mick Jagger, by the way, is
Vasendak,
who will be played by me this episode. Victor Vasendak, who is the premier bonejacker, this bounty hunter that works for a price for fresh off of the uber successful namesake of this podcast, Anthony Hopkins, coming off of Silence of the Lambs.
The McCandless Corporation.
Who's played by you, Ian McCandless.
Mr. McCandless.
Who, like in all these movies, isn't there a recent-ish video game with this same kind of plot on Xbox One or something?
Done numerous times in different ways.
But like even in Ready Player One, like the uber rich, Land of the Dead, uber rich.
Well, let's just get into it. Full on spoilers from here on out.
Go ahead.
I mean, there's really not a whole lot to tell. It's a chase movie, okay? It's just a long chase movie of Emilio running from Mick Jagger,
trying to find out the truth
of why he was brought to the future.
Evil corporation. Yeah,
his former fiance or girlfriend, it doesn't matter, is in the future there working for this McCandless Corporation
as a widow.
She's basically his own, with the exception of his manager, who turns out to be that
the dirtball
scumbag,
Brad,
played by
New York Dolls David Johansen, who was also in the Cat. Tales from the Dark Side, and what was it called? The Cat from Hell.
And he was in Scrooge.
The
taxi driver. He did a great job.
And Suburban Commando.
He gets killed within 5 minutes of describing why he's there anyway. And anyway,
the diner.
Rene Russo works for the McCandless Corporation.
Right.
So does Vasendak, working for the McCandless Corporation
as a hired gun.
All these people are chasing Emilio Estevez. We don't know why. Let's just fast forward a while. Let's just because there's a lot of terrible chemistry between Rene Russo and Emilio Estevez.
Bad physical.
Absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
And Jess said she looked like his mom. I said she looked like his aunt. And then I think we also said she could be his older sister. She could
be his teacher.
I understand this is supposed to take place in the future, and he hasn't aged 17 years and everybody else has.
Right.
But it just doesn't. The chemistry does not work.
No.
Vasendak chasing him down throughout this whole show. First off, he's like what? He's got to be like 50 some odd years old at this point.
He's not intimidating as a villain at all.
At all. He looks like he's sitting behind a desk most of the time, even though it's like he's like behind a tank or he's in like a war room. He's just telling people what to do in like a leather coat.
If that's his first film or not.
He's it's pretty bad. But anyway, it kind of goes back and forth between a bunch of stupid ideas. I mean,
Sundak's vehicles.
We're just seeing how stupid the future is. Basically, there's a like most.
Once again, it's supposed to be New York City, and it's probably Toronto or Vancouver.
like
or
most
Sydney, Australia.
dystopian future,
Yeah.
it's like 99% poor people and 1% rich people who live in a nice pocket.
Judge Dredd was like
Dredd.
that too. Yeah,
They live in a
Mega
nice,
City 1.
Demolition Man, on another Sylvester Stallone movie about
Classics.
like the rebellious poor and the
yeah.
technologically prosperous rich.
Shout out to Dennis Leary. He's like, I want to eat buckets of butter and cheese. I want to smoke cigars the size of Cincinnati.
Yeah.
It's like,
I want, yeah.
And Botho was in it.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Right.
Botho.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
One of our favorite men.
Yeah.
But
Charmed.
yeah, charmed, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mind her? She's still upset because somebody dropped a house on her sister.
So yeah.
Thanks, Otho.
Anyway, eventually they catch up to Emilio in this McCandless Corporation
Right.
hideout. And that's enter Anthony Hopkins. He makes an appearance here and there as like the leader of this corporation. But basically, the end of the movie, and like we said, we were getting into spoilers here. The end of the movie is really the only good part of this movie, in my opinion. So what happens here, PBK? We have Emilio, we have Rene Russo, we have Mick Jagger, we have Anthony Hopkins.
So picture this very hodgepodge mishmash. Yeah, like all the good, like Arnold, Cameron, Robocop, all these great 80s dystopian films. It's a cheap mishmash of it. It's definitely very, even just being based off of a novel. It's the poor man's Blade Runner. We get to, from what I recall, the final chase scene where when they know that they've got to get to McCandless and his 200 floors tower. They escape the clutches of Visendak and his army goons versus the corporate guys. There's some other worthless character not worth mentioning. What was his name? His name was Michelet or Michelet.
Yeah,
McCandless's
he's played by that guy from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad.
Okay,
plays the head henchman thing. In this one, he's like a dick.
A lackey.
He's like a Dick Jones.
Thank you. He's like a Dick Jones. So he comes in and they shoot up to what they believe is the 100th floor because Rene Russo says
there's a fire.
There's a fire escape pod.
We can get out.
We can get out of
way.
there. So whatever happens, it gets the control override, and they go up to the 200th floor. Awful green screen, awful matte painting for 1992. And once they get to this top floor, this penthouse, they are then greeted by the hologram, however the hell you want to say it, of Ian McCandless. And what I failed to mention was that just moments prior, in the kind of like BS revelatory monologue through Michelet, they said, "Where's McCandless?" Because he's supposed to be on a business trip in Tokyo, I think, right?
Yeah, he's
in Tokyo.
He's in Tokyo because they set up the Tokyo business.
They were trying to have
beginning.
some Japanese merger.
It's just like
every
other corporation.
We get to see the Nakatomi Corporation. We get to see a very unusual Anthony Hopkins in rare wax form, looking like what I described was a South American, like Argentinian dictator from the late 50s, early 60s. It's brown.
It looks like
it's not a white guy at all.
Don't they have like the Lenin body preserved in Russia or somewhere in like a glass case?
It looked like
and
that.
It just looks all like it looks like looks like a piece of wood that's been sitting out for way too long. And you're like, this is supposed to be Anthony Hopkins?
And what's funky?
Look at this guy.
I guess it was
like a wax museum figure.
Yeah, he was supposed to be like cryogenically frozen, but the way I saw it, it looked like basically like it was mad humid inside that glass case. It's all gross.
This was like decomposing. Keeping the flesh alive.
Yeah. So he's kept in cryostasis because he had some debilitating disease, cancer, whatever.
I was dying, Julia.
Right. And much to your favorite series, X-Men, in this Cerebro kind of way. And I'll say, if this is true to the novel, if somebody thought of like uploading your soul and basically your consciousness, that's goddamn crazy that someone in the 50s thought of that. You know?
I mean, that's pretty fucking
that's beyond
heady
original.
And dope. And
But so McCandless's his consciousness, his soul, his mind, his spirit, which is that's what they call it, the spiritual switchboard. I thought that was a cool name. Is uploaded has been uploaded, so he's living and he's sentient through a computer, a la Skynet, and this is where we go through another, basically the only satisfying part of the movie, which is the reason he has plucked Alex Furlong out of his death, Emilio, is because when he first met Rene Russo as a widow, he had come to find out that she loved him so much, and she talked so fondly of him, and being the old lech that he was, fell in love with her.
There's nothing I could do, Julia. No money,
no power, no position.
Nothing could woo you away from the man that you loved.
Oof, perfectly said. You just forgot that, yeah. And what did multiple Migs say to you, Clarice?
Oh, wait.
Well, sir, he said, I can smell your cunt. Very matter-of-factly. And I love when he does this. He goes, he does a sniff, says, pity. I can't smell anything here. Anyway, so then he tries to trick Emilio Estevez. Well, no. He says, you know what? I found the error of my ways.
I found the error of my ways.
This is like a very, what you call a kayfabe.
And I sentenced myself to death.
Yeah, this is a kayfabe.
I'm going to give you everything, Emilio.
You're gonna delete me as a program, therefore killing me.
He even says, like, I put it in the contract that once my mind is out of the database, and it's gone, that is the final nail in my coffin.
And you're the executor to my estate.
You are the executor of my estate.
Yeah.
Put the code in and hit the delete key.
That's what it was.
And he puts it in on this really janky looking fucking
Atari
2600 dial with light up buttons.
Yeah.
Presses the key and nothing happens, and it's pretty obvious at this point.
He's
Anthony Hopkins just stalling it.
I'm stalling.
It was always a trick.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't go through this whole movie with him chasing him just for him to be like, I was chasing and trying to kill you to give you my fortune.
My ways. Yeah,
get the fuck out of here. And of course,
take over. They talk about the giant jumping jack from Honey I Blew Up
At this point, it's like, oh, the jig is up. We've got you captured for like the third time in this movie,
like sixth.
And they're basically the Sendek, played by Mick Jagger, comes in, and after helping Emilio out earlier in the movie, you think that Mick Jagger's on his side. He's not on his side, because then they capture him again and they're like pointing a gun at him
and doesn't kill him.
And Anthony Hopkins basically instructs him to place his hands on top of what is a giant jumping jack
from Honey
that we said is probably on loan from Universal Studios Florida,
Culver City, California,
from the Honey I Shrunk the Kids,
the ride,
that big playground that I went to as a child, which was tons of fun.
Oh, I thought that became the Simpsons ride after.
Maybe it did. I went to Universal Studios in like 1991. So
Back to the Future became the Simpsons ride, and probably something else before that.
Shout out to Universal Studios.
Oh man,
great time.
That's a whole episode on Jaws, the King Kong.
We got to do a whole episode on amusement parks and haunted houses. Either way,
shout out to
our
Great
Patreon,
Adventure, man. Yeah.
Anyway, so the Sendek has got him at gunpoint. He puts his hands on this thing. It's going to sink Anthony Hopkins' mind to erase Emilio's and take its place.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if Rene Russo does something or whatever happens. Maybe
she does,
or the goon guy comes in or something. I don't know.
She shoots it,
but the thing is interrupted. Yeah, she shoots the thing,
and that's also. I just want to point out that's very Arnie with the Oxygen creator as well.
Very much so.
Right out of Total Recall.
Yeah.
Which is another Philip K. Dick story.
Yes.
Dreams for Sale or Memories for Sale.
Or whatever it is. Yeah. Anyway,
dreams.
At this point, Anthony Hopkins' role is done. They wrapped him up on filming in probably 2 days and said, okay, you're good to go home. And
you've got this great kind
there's
of
this,
proto lawnmower man. Yeah. Or brain scan,
but anyway, this becomes like did Anthony Hopkins steal Emilio's mind? I don't know.
Yeah.
But Visendek is like, there's only one way to figure this out. His employee number. Or no, it's the other guy. He's like, it's his employee number. Ask him.
Michelet.
Yeah. And so this long drawn out. He's like 9, continue, 7, proceed, 6. Yes, and
Of
it's
course
just
I'm
like
a canvas.
he's
Shoot
going,
him, damn it.
he's going one number after another, and it's like, oh my God, maybe it is Anthony Hopkins inside his body.
How do we know it's him?
They shoot the lackey CEO, kill him, and then we cut to the end, which is like, is it really him or isn't him? And we know it's not, because the way.
Well, there's a fake
talking.
wedding.
Yeah, there's like a fake wedding.
There's a blockade.
Yeah,
right.
And
Vicendic's
Rene Russo is
lording
like, and Emilio are talking to each other like they were in love.
Yeah, wedding
and then
clothes.
the final icing on the
Wedding
cake at the end,
clothes.
no pun intended, is Rene Russo and Emilio get stopped by Vicendac with all his tanks that are
in these
super
awful
colorful.
Cars. We didn't talk about the awful car designs.
Yeah, we'll get
these.
into that here in a minute. But basically, he comes up to him and says, I don't remember the words, but he basically says like, something in the sense that you're lucky, like, I like you or something. Your employee code was complete bullshit.
Right.
Which means that Mick
he
Jagger
knew all along.
Mick Jagger was against him, then started helping him, then was against him again, but was really helping him.
He grew a fondness.
It was like a triple, quadruple, double cross.
He grew a fondness for him.
It was very hard to follow, to be honest. I think Vicendac just liked him because he was like, he provided me with a good challenge. He's kept me running around the city the whole time.
Lol, facts, I'm dead.
Yeah.
If you insist on frightening people, he will hit you.
Sorry.
That was like 10 samples combined. That was,
There we go.
Shout out to Ryan Otero, wherever you may be.
We miss you, guy.
Yep.
Anyway.
Facts, I'm dead. So they've got these white, silly outfits on, and I said the best part of the movie was the song at the end.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. It really, I don't know. Would you even say it starts off with promise?
No.
It starts off boring as fuck.
So
Either way.
this movie starts off like Days of Thunder.
Yes.
And then it rolls right in.
You think it's going to be a romance story
yes.
where she's like, your career or me?
This movie rolls right into being Demolition Man. But then slowly it turns into Judge Dredd with Johnny Mnemonic.
Yes. Shout out to Johnny Mnemonic.
A little bit of Robocop. Lawnmower Man.
Yes.
And even though it was way ahead of this movie, or in time, this movie was before it, it's got just a little bit of the Matrix on top as well.
And I'd throw
And
in
Blade Runner, we talked about as well.
Now that you just mentioned Matrix, as far as the silliness of the time travel, let's throw Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, and let's throw or Back to the Future,
With
or
the
any like comedy time travel, because the logic here is awful. Mr. Vicendac, aka PBK, what did you give this movie?
I gave it a glaring 1. There's any listen, I don't think she's ever gonna hear this. There's not even like a titty or ass shot. Renee was just bent over and she didn't even like, you cheap bitch. She didn't even say like what, like she was at her prime. Like basically, Lethal Weapon came out that same year, Lethal Weapon 3, and if she wasn't in 2, which I think she was in already, nothing. And the kissing is fake, and God, the diner scene, and
it's all so bad.
Like there could have been more cursing and more violence.
Yes, anything to spice this up.
Think of RoboCop. Think of Total Recall, both by Verhoeven. Like just the glaring violence. The violence in I don't know, most of these, maybe like Steel Dawn or Cyborg with Van Damme. Like there was no blood in this film at all.
There's nothing in this film.
And there weren't guys like, like getting like, elevator opens, like oozied out or anything. Nothing at all.
I don't understand. I give it a 1 as well.
It's for like 7th graders.
It was
trying to dip your
the set
feet
design
into the
is
pool.
shit. The
vehicles,
the props, and like
were Israeli.
We said the vehicles
tanks.
look like they're Israeli tanks painted up to look like GI Joe vehicles.
Joker. Shout out to Tamox and Zema.
Yeah, and like the acting was horrible. There was zero chemistry between anybody. Anthony Hopkins is the only good part of the movie, and he's only in it for like 30 seconds up until the end, when it's like maybe 5 minutes. But
I didn't feel myself hating Vicendac or feeling like, ooh, you're a real bad guy.
Yeah,
like Dick Jones is a really awful scumbag bad guy.
And every action sequence may start out like something's going to happen, but it's immediately pulled back with something like Emilio jumps off the bridge, or like all the cars that he's chasing, they're just running into little minor obstacles while he's talking to him on a laptop. And it's just like the banter is bad. The action is bad. The drama is bad. The comedy, if it's even supposed to be there, is bad.
And I don't know if New York was supposed to be so dilapidated. Like when he goes back to his old apartment, it's literally like hood ruins.
It's like Back to the Future 2. It's like the exact same thing. It's like bars on the windows. There's some
the taxi cab.
poor black couple living in his
Yeah.
apartment. It's the exact same scene from Back to the Future 2.
With a regular shotgun. There were no laser.
You better get out of here, boy. Yeah, like
when he takes the cab, back to his old apartment. It wasn't a flying cab. It wasn't even the "Have a nice day" from Total Recall.
We have time travel, but yet the rest of the world is still living like it's 1992.
Dude, it was like Blitzkrieg, Berlin, 1944.
It was horrible, dude.
I did want to point out before we get into like critical reception and Rotten Tomatoes and things. Can't you remember it for We can remember it for you for wholesale. Is also Philip K. Dick, which is what Total Recall was based off. And that was written in 1966.
Right, yeah.
So that's pretty wild. I wanted to mention some fun facts. As far as box office, as per Wikipedia, it made a small profit as it grossed $17 million in the States and Canada and $20 million internationally for a worldwide total of $37 million, which is epic fail.
I don't know.
Well, I think it's safe to say that this movie sucked so hard. Thank you, JCVD.
Anthony Hopkins on The Late Show with David Letterman called the film, quote, terrible, end quote.
Yeah.
And it received negative reviews from critics, 22% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah, and Owen Gleiberman, very, very prominent writer for Entertainment Weekly, described it as routine urban, you said it perfectly, routine urban chase thriller with sci-fi gimmicks and a cheap mishmash of Blade Runner, Robocop, and Total Recall. I did want to say this, though. As far as the production, according to reports, it says time and interviews, blah, 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 blah. Producer Ron Shusett was brought in to reshoot around 40% of the movie and add more character scenes and humor, which I found this movie to be devoid of. Emilio Estevez also mentioned how director Jeff Murphy let them down by focusing too much on what? On action in his original cut of the film.
I'm just doing my job.
So he claims that there was interference from production company Morgan Creek, and he asked for his possessory credit to be removed.
Well,
so typically we tell people on this show to watch it. I'd say watch this while having sex or like at a Super Bowl.
Turn it on for
party,
your pets.
Background noise.
Like if your pets get
if you're vacuuming.
Anxious when you're gone, turn it on for them.
Take anxiety pills.
Maybe Mick Jagger and Emilio Estevez can lull them to sleep.
But I give it a glaring 1.
If you don't like somebody, put this on at their party and leave. That would be a good idea.
Or better yet, put on Mick Jagger and David Bowie's 1980 Dancing in the Street
Dancing
version.
In the Street.
And that's a better time.
But yeah, this movie
Bombed
was
up for this one.
It was pretty bad, man.
It was pretty bad.
That is one big pile of shit.
Yeah. Up there with the Changeling.
Yeah.
And Black Christmas.
So yeah, we got a couple more things in the pipeline.
Stinkers.
We're gonna talk about
that'll be in our stinkers block.
Yeah, we're gonna do a stinkers block. It's got a couple. It's gonna have a couple movies in there. Well, we won't spoil it here, but there's definitely the Changeling is gonna be in there. Ooh, little facts. I'm dead. But yeah, is there anything else you would like to add here, Mr. Vicendek, Mr. PBK?
No, villain. Just
welcome to 2022, right?
Go Bengals.
Go Bengals.
Go Bengals.
Our local Necropolis legends are in the Super Bowl.
And hopefully this blizzard didn't fuck everybody's life or weekend up. And
I'm sure it did.
Expecting warm weather, and hopefully people get to go to more concerts, more shows.
Yeah. Once the Necropolis de-ices itself, we will definitely have some shows to go to. And
and the Arnold Classic up in Columbus.
Yes, shout out to Arnie.
Yeah, March 3rd through the 6th.
We always support him and everything he does.
Yep. His new film Zeus. I don't know if that's real or not.
I don't know if that's real or not.
Right, that looks fake.
Maybe we'll do it on the show. Who knows?
sponsored by BMW.
Yeah. Make sure that you do the show with my new film Zeus. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Shout out to Action Park, Dorney Park, Hershey Park, Sesame Place. I don't know if that exists anymore. Great Adventures in Jersey, and the best roller coaster of all, the Cyclone in Coney Island. So shout out to Coney Island, Brooklyn.
Shout out to Kings Island.
There you go.
Of all places here in our own backyard.
And shout out to the Cincinnati Zoo. Rest in peace, Harambe.
Yeah.
Been dead.
It's been a while.
5 years now.
We never forget Harambe.
R.I.P. Harambe. That's the best way to end it. My good people.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us on episode 108 of
the
Into the Night podcast.
Wait.
I got to see that guy on Wednesday.
Word.
I got 45 pies to make. We have no trays.
We got Maxie Dean on the phone. We can't lose, Wiz.